Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another video. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so you'll be updated on all my future content. So this video is going to be a review of multi-digit subtraction with regrouping. Our first example problem is 14,578 minus 12,962. And I'm going to go through step by step how to solve that problem. So step one, before we do any subtraction, is we want to see if regrouping is needed. Now we regroup whenever there is a bottom digit that is bigger than the top digit. So I'm going to go through the 10,000s place, the thousands place, the hundreds place, the tens place, and the ones place, and see if at any point the bottom digit is bigger than the top digit. So in the 10,000s place, both digits are the same, and that works. The digits can be the same. The only time it is an issue is if the bottom digit is bigger. In the thousands place, the top digit's bigger, so we're good. No need to regroup there. In the hundreds place, we will need to regroup. You cannot start out with 5 and take away 9. So we're going to take a 10 from the thousands place and add it to the hundreds place. So that 4 is going to become a 3. We have to take away 1. And that 5 is going to become a 15. Now in the tens place, 7 is bigger than 6 and 8 is bigger than 2. So no regrouping needed in the tens or ones place. So now we are ready to subtract. So we regroup from left to right, and then we subtract from right to left. So once we get to the subtraction, we always start in the ones place. We're going to start with 8 minus 2. 8 minus 2 equals 6. 7 minus 6 equals 1. 15 minus 9 equals 6. 3 minus 2 equals 1. 1 minus 1 equals 0. We could put a 0 there, or we could just leave it blank. Either way, it doesn't change the value of the number. And we have our final answer. 14,578 minus 12,962 equals 1,616. All right, moving on to our next example problem. It's the Mr. Camilleri show. It's the Mr. C. It's the Mr. Camilleri show. Shout out to Mr. C. All right, next example problem. We have 49,538 minus 34,949. Again, first step before we do any subtraction is we see if regrouping is needed, and we regroup whenever there's a bottom digit that's bigger than the top digit. So 4 is bigger than 3, so we will not need to regroup in the 10,000s place. 9 is bigger than 4, so we will not need to regroup in the thousands place. In the hundreds place, 5 is not as big as 9. You cannot start out with 5 and take away 9, so we will need to regroup in the hundreds place. You cannot start out with 3 and take away 4, so we will need to regroup in the tens place, and we will need to regroup in the ones place also. You can't start with 8 and take away 9. Shout out to the person that just hit the like button. I appreciate you. All right, so we're going to regroup, going from left to right. So we have to take a 10 from the thousands place. This 9 is going to become an 8. This 5 is going to become a 15. Now, you can't start with 3 and take away 4, so we have to regroup again. The 3 will become a 13, and then we have to take away 1. We always take away 1 from the column to the left. That 15 will now become a 14. You can't start with 8 and take away 9, so we have to take a 10. take a 10 from the tens place, that 8 becomes an 18, and that 13 gets changed again to a 12. So 18 is greater than 9, 12 is greater than 4, 14 is greater than 9, 8 is greater than 4, 4 is greater than 3. All the top digits are bigger, and we are ready to subtract. Now, we always start in the ones place when we subtract. I always say we regroup from left to right, and then we subtract from right to left. So 18 minus 9. 18 minus 9 equals 9. 12 minus 4 equals 8. 14 minus 9 equals 5. 8 minus 4 equals 4. And 4 minus 3 equals 1. And we have our final answer. 49,538 minus 34,949 equals 14,589. All right, we're probably going to do about 2 more example problems and call it a video. So our next example problem is 50,000 minus 12,485. Can I do grade 10 math? Most of the math I do is pre-K to 8, but put a grade 10 math problem in the chat that you're having trouble with. I'll screenshot it and I'll look at it. If it's not for me, then I'll put a link in the community tab. And any math that I'm not an expert in, I always redirect that to like a different YouTube channel. Like I'll point you in the direction of somebody that can do that or is an expert on it. If it's not my cup of tea, I'll point you in the direction of somebody who can help you. So put a math problem in the chat. Put a grade 10 math problem in the chat. I'll look at it. If it's something that I'm familiar with, I'll do a separate video on it. If it's not something I'm familiar with, I'll put a link in the community tab and I'll link it to another YouTube video from a different channel that does math problems like that. All right. But get started on this problem now. 50,000 minus 12,485. So we got to do all of our regrouping first. And in this problem, everything needs to be regrouped except the 10,000s place. You can't start with 2. You cannot start with 0 and take away 2, so we have to take a 10 from the 10,000s place. The 5 becomes a 4. The 0 becomes a 10. You can't start with 0 and take away 4. So the 0 becomes a 10, and then the 10 in the thousands place becomes a 9. You can't start with 0 and take away 8. So that 0 becomes a 10, and then the 10 in the hundreds place becomes a 9. You cannot start with 0 and take away 5. So that 0 becomes a 10, and that 10 from the tens place becomes a 9. And now we are ready to subtract. 10 minus 5 equals 5. 9 minus 8 equals 1. 9 minus 4 equals 5. 9 minus 2 equals 7. 4 minus 1 equals 3. And we have our final answer. 50,000 minus 12,485 equals 37,515. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I don't know how you got here, but I am glad that you're here. All right. Next example problem. It's the Mr. Camilleri show. It's the Mr. C. It's the Mr. Camilleri show. Shout out to Mr. C. All right, next example problem, 75,941 minus 37,874. So again, we got to do all of our regrouping first. You can't start with 5 and take away 7, so we have to take a 10 from the 10,000s place. Back in the 90s and early 2000s, we used to call this borrowing, but it's not really borrowing because we don't give it back. So the 7 becomes a 6, the 5 becomes a 15. 9's bigger than 8, so we don't need to regroup there. You can't start with 4 and take away 7, so we have to take a 10 from the hundreds place. The 4 will become a 14, and then the 9 will become an 8. Can't start with 1 and take away 4, so that 1 becomes an 11. And that 14, we have to take away 1, and it's going to become a 13. And now we are ready to subtract. 11 minus 4 equals 7. 13 minus 7 equals 6. 8 minus 8 equals 0. 15 minus 7 equals 8. 6 minus 3 equals 3. And we have our final answer, 75,941 minus 37,874 equals 38,067. All right, that is my live stream for tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. Leave a comment. Let me know what you thought of the video. And if there is an area of math or reading that you're having difficulty with, put that in the comments, and I will try to do a future video on that skill. Until next time, this is Mr. Camilleri signing off. Have a great day, and God bless.